Hey, Plexus Living Free. This is Michelle, and
Angela.
we are so excited to be talking to you about convention coming up. I cannot believe it's this week, and we are so excited and expectant for what God is going to do in all of our lives individually and as a team. And we want to just kind of set your expectation and give you some tips because for a lot of you, this is your first convention, and for some of you, it's even for me, it's good to have a refresher to know what to expect, what to look for, and how to prepare yourself. Because whatever you look for, whatever you expect, that is what you are going to get. It's the law of attraction. And when you are looking for something, you're going to find it. So we wanted to set your expectation about what to look for, what to expect, and how to make the most of these few days so that you will be enriched, you will be encouraged, inspired, and equipped to move forward in your business. So, you're going to be there with 12,000 of your closest friends, right? And so it's going to be high energy. There's going to be a lot going on, and there's going to be lines, right? And there's going to be things that don't go according to plan. And there's going to be a lot that happens really, really well. And then sometimes there's going to be things that don't happen so well, right? You have to go to the bathroom really badly, and then you have to wait because there's 10 people in front of you, or you've got limited time, and some things may take longer than others. And so the first thing I want to talk about is the power of life and death that you have in your tongue, right? And you have an opportunity to see things either as a opportunity or a problem. And for the most successful people, and we've been studying this, right? And the magic of thinking big, successful women think differently. We see things as opportunities and we don't voice complaints. Listen, there's going to be some opportunities for you to voice some negativity about lines or this, and that's not what we do. Because as believers, you know what the word says? It says, don't complain, because you want to shine like the stars. And when we don't complain and when we speak only what is edifying and building up, we shine. So that's the first thing I really want you to be aware of, is to be aware of what's coming out of your mouth. Even when you're tempted to say something like, this is taking long, or this doesn't look appetizing, or anything, when you're tempted to be negative, either hold it to yourself or flip it to a positive, because the power of life and death. And even though it may not seem negative to you, leaders are always adding value intentionally, and go in with the mindset that you are there to add value intentionally. And here's the thing, unless you're being intentional about adding value, by default, you subtract value. So be aware of that in those times where you may be tempted to say something that may not be uplifting or adding value. Turn it around and make a positive statement. Say you're in a long line for the restroom. Look around and see who you can connect with. This is a great opportunity to chat with somebody, or a chance to check your messages, or whatever it is, because we're going to use the power of life and death that God's given us for life, not complaining, or certainly not death.
Yes, exactly. And so like she was saying, like we are adding value on purpose. So being intentional. And this was really powerful when I first heard Christina and Brittany talk about this when I first came in, and I recognized, oh my gosh, like I need to be better about this, even just in general. Like this is something that's convicting to me, that when we're in the store or when we're in the line, like when we say, like, for example, if we go into a restaurant and we're like, oh, this food is terrible, or, oh, they take too long, or whatever. We're bringing a negative in this situation. We're subtracting value. And then the next person's going to think, oh gosh, right? And it just is easy to do that from experience. And instead we should find the positive. So in every opportunity, a leader is going to find a way to solve a problem. If there's something that comes up, they're going to look for an opportunity, even in a problem. But those that are unsuccessful will look for a problem in every opportunity. So we want to look for a solution instead of the problem, right? We want to look for an opportunity, like you said, when you're in line. Maybe we can snap a selfie with somebody and get to know their story. Maybe we can, add value to their life somehow, and just think of ways to grow. So growth mindedness is all part of what we're talking about here. It's being growth minded and intentional in the housing situation or the room, waiting for the bathroom, right? And And be prepared, y'all, to bring a little mirror with you, by the way, because you might not get in the mirror as much as you want, and then you'll have one. So
That's
like
right.
things, there's going to be those times, it's going to traffic issues that happen, right? We can be intentional to add value and grow and make it, turn it around. So this is how you diffuse it. Like you kind of touched on this, but diffusing it. If somebody is a more negative Nelly and continually adding, taking away, blah, 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 just turn it around, figure out a way to say, you know what though? And here's the solution. And turn it to a positive, like she was saying. This is how we become better leaders and lead our people better. And again, this is also stewarding like the gift of life in our tongue and like what the Lord's told us to do. And that is how we lift others up. And on that note, I want to say one more thing. Another thing that detracts value, that is it's subtracting, is don't be gossiping. We are a no gossip group. Okay. There's no tolerance for it. We're going to lift each other up. And anybody who's talking about somebody, I want to immediately diffuse that and start talking about the positive and looking at the strengths of every one of us. We all have gifts. We all have weaknesses too. But let's focus on the giftings of every person that we're around, people that we don't know well. Instead of tearing down, let's build them up.
Yeah, I love that, Angela. 100%. I mean, there's a reason why the Lord says in his word, do not talk about anything that's bad.
Mm.
Talk about let only edifying things come out of your mouth. So let's just agree with God and live out his word, right? Okay, so here's another thing. Angela talked about having a growth mindset. And we just read about this in Successful Women Think Differently. And that is the expectation and come in. This is a perfect opportunity to really develop and focus on having a growth mindset. For example, convention is not the time for you to be hitting IPA hard. In the sessions, you are not supposed to be on your phone doing IPA. When you're doing that, you are unintentionally telling everybody around you that you don't need what's being said,
Mm.
and you already got that. And you're saying, I am actually going to focus on something else because it's more important to me. And as a leader, you don't have the luxury of doing that. This is a time for convention. There's not many times where we truly invest in ourselves and our business, and this is one of them. So when you're in a session, do not be checking your messages. Do not be texting people. Do not be doing IPA. You are there to learn. And it doesn't matter if they're talking about recruiting and you've recruited 30 people yesterday. You can always learn something, and the humble can learn from anybody and everything, because it's not just about what you are learning. It could be for somebody else. So when you come in with the humble attitude that I'm going to learn everything that I can from everybody, it's going to be amazing for everybody. And guess what? The Lord lifts up those that are humble. So come in with a growth mindset, ready to learn, not be on your phone, be fully present in what the speakers are what they're sharing, because they've spent hours and hours and hours and hours developing this content. And I can promise you it will help you and people on your team.
Yes, and amen to that, for real. And I had done that at the very first meeting I went to, and then realized what I was doing, and I had to make a adjustment, because I think it was Christina that said this, but 4 words that stop growth is I already know that. And some of us, there might be sessions that maybe you've already learned, but y'all, we can keep learning more. We can be reminded. We can get something out of every single session. And like Michelle was saying, if you decide I already know that and check out and like get on your phone and do an IPA, then your people around you are going to think, oh, this isn't important. So that it is very respectful too to the one who's on the stage talking, who spent months and months preparing to share with all of us. So we've got to have a humble attitude. And I also wanted to mention, like, being intentional to not compare ourselves, not being jealous and comparing. There's going to be people who maybe have been here less than you and they're already going through the ranks, or maybe others that you'll say the way they dress, the way they look, the way this or that. We want to intentionally be inspired by others instead of taking things as a negative. And that's a comparison thing, is a big thing that can steal joy. We hear that all the time. And so when we're here this weekend meeting other people, let's be inspired by their stories. And if there's another person the same rank as you crushing it quicker than you, how about we go up and we ask them questions like, tell me what you've been doing. I'm so inspired by your story. Tell me how you've done this. Like, and be inspired to learn because they're doing something right and they can have something to offer to bring to you to share with you that can help you with your business.
Mhm. That's right, because everybody's story is their own journey. My journey is not Angela's journey, was not Christina's journey, was not Leah's journey. It's my journey. So get ahead of the comparison trap and set your intention that you are on the path that God has for you, and let other people be an encouragement and an inspiration, not not a discouragement, but let it lift you up and inspire that everything is figure outable and that you can learn from them too. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the sessions themselves. We've spent a lot of money, time, heart, and energy to get to the sessions. So please don't be talking in the sessions. Please don't be whispering to your neighbors. Please don't be laughing, texting, et cetera, et cetera. Not only is it very distracting to people around you, but it's also can be distracting to the speakers. So just use etiquette, get to the sessions early. There's 12,000 people coming to this thing. And if the session starts at 9, don't show up at 9. Don't show up at 5 of 9. Plan to be there 15 minutes before so you can get your seats, get settled, because nobody wants to hear, excuse me, pardon me, climbing over people when they got there early and got their seats. So, talking about seating and logistics and stuff, I want to say this. Leaders are initiators. So do not be looking to others to always be bringing you in. If you need a buddy to sit with, if you need someone to go to coffee with or lunch with, you take that action, because everybody is thinking about a million things. Please do not make assumptions that, oh, this person left me out. Oh, this person didn't think about me. Take responsibility for your experience at convention. You initiate, hey, let's go grab a sandwich, or hey, what are you doing for lunch? Hey, will you save me a seat? Or hey, I've got some seats, come sit with me. And just take initiative and be the leader for your own experience, because you've got the ability and the responsibility for your entire convention experience. So don't wait for somebody else to pull you along. You set the tone and do that for others and be a blessing to others as well.
Yeah, so good. And don't have imposter syndrome, like thinking like, oh, I don't fit here. Nobody likes me. That's a victim too. And you are not a victim. You're an overcomer. And listen, I'm going to say this because I was in another company a while back, many years ago, and I literally was that person Michelle just described. I remember crying and being all emotional and allowing the enemy to mess with my mind because my leader that I came with, which I was the star, or not star, but like the key person. She made it like, oh, you're my highest rank, blah, blah, blah. And that was probably my mind thinking was, here I am, and she's not even spending any time with me, and da 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 da. And I started making it so personal, like she didn't like me or something was wrong. And I literally I was a lot more immature. I think I would like to think that I'm more mature at this point, but also I've learned to not take those things personally. Literally, that's what it messed up my experience because I was so focused on whether she was leaving me out or not, instead of just taking the initiative and asking. And she was busy. And so I just want to say this too, is Jules are busy. We have different meetings, and especially if we're going to be on the stage or if we have a breakfast, or we want to be with all the people. We want to be with all of you. You're all included. We want to talk to you. We want to have that chance. But just know this is that your Jewel upline, or even somebody who's not a Jewel, but especially Jules and higher, they're going to be busy. We're going to be having things that we're going to be doing. We want to spend time with everybody, but because of certain things happening, there might be that chance that we don't get to with you individually at all times. And just know that it's not anything personal. Know that we love you. We're so excited to be able to have time with you. And we do hope to have a chance to be with you, but just don't take that personally like I did. And don't feel like that. Don't feel left out. Definitely make friends with others too.
Yeah, that's a great point, Angela. Here's the thing. I mean, there's a lot of responsibility that comes with leadership, and there's a lot of people to think about, and you just don't make assumptions, because you don't know what's happening. You don't know what's in the person's mind. And it is, instead of making it something about you and thinking about you, you go love on somebody else. Right.
Mm.
And because everyone's doing their best, everyone's doing their very best. So just give everybody grace in your expectations. Grace, grace, grace upon grace.
Yes.
So, which is just really, really, really important. What else we got, Angela?
So, make sure you're taking tons of selfies with people, with your teammates, with people, and don't assume that we don't want to. We do want to, and there's going to be leaders there. They are fine. They're going to be honored that you would want a picture with them. So don't hesitate to ask for a picture, and then use their story. And you can tons of content can come out of these meetings and experience that we're going to have, especially at the team dinner. And even if you've earned winners or anything else, take lots of pictures. And if you get stuck in an elevator with a jewel, um, y'all be asking questions. Have some questions ready to ask them. They're going to be impressed, first of all, that you are asking, because this is growth minded thinking and you're going to learn from it. And so if you get stuck in the elevator with somebody, just ask them, I'm really curious. I've seen your journey. I'm really inspired by you. And then just say, I'm curious, like, for example, what's your top habits that you do? What's your morning routine look like? Or tell me what your top 5 habits are. Or, what is the biggest thing you've overcome recently in your business? What is something that, changed everything that you could tell me now if you were to look back on your journey? Have some questions like that in mind to ask. If you get stuck in the elevator and you have a short time to ask that question, I want to encourage you to do that.
Yeah, 100%. And listen, all of this is expected. I remember my first convention and I would see people and be like, oh, and I felt like they're like the superstars. And like, and they'd be like, Michelle, go get your picture taken. And everybody expects it. It's welcomed and it's very exciting and humbling. So don't be shy. Don't wait for them to come to you. Just say, hey, can I snap a quick picture with you? And it's expected, and it's going to give you great content for your social media. And exactly like Angela said, be prepared with some questions. You're going to be in line. You may run into somebody in the restroom. I mean, I remember my second convention. I was in the restroom and ran into Jessica Heffley, and I was like, I couldn't even talk. I wasn't even prepared. She spoke to me. I was wearing this dress. She goes, "Oh, is that a BCBG dress? I had that on a TJ Maxx. Is that where you got it?" I was like, "Uh-huh." And I felt like such an idiot. And I wanted to talk to her, but I wasn't prepared. I didn't know what to say. And she was talking to me. So simple questions like Angela gave you are great. And it's a great way to set you apart. And I'm telling you, I've had great relationships start like that, with sidelines and upline and people ahead of me, below me, just by starting up conversations. So go ahead and do that, because connections and community are going to be one of the most important things that you glean from this convention. 100%.
Exactly. And what you're looking to get out of this, you're going to get out of this. So start thinking now about what you want to get out of this. And I'm going to read a couple things I jotted down, like growth mindset. You want to grow, you want to learn, right? Like she said, community. You're going to meet new people, maybe life's like friends for life. These can be connections that will be huge for you. And then making sure that you're, like we said, stuff content for media, for social media, thinking about these things as you're going into this and expecting to get something out of it. This is going to be huge for your growth in your business. And I do want to say one more thing. We have a huge, there's a lot of Christians and believers in this team, not just our team, but even other teams. But there are going to be people who are not believers. And so our tendency might be to be judgmental, but let's have grace for people, and God might open up a chance to minister. I actually had someone come up to me last convention saying how much my testimony, what I shared, I said something about Jesus, and she said, I want you to pray for me. And then somebody else in our team dinner said, on one of the calls, I had been away from God, and on one of the calls, it convicted me, and I'm getting my life back with the Lord. I got to pray for her right then. So look for, when you see those kind of people. I remember one person I saw, the way that she was dressed, it was kind of like, oh gosh. And then the Lord later let me even minister to that person. She just needed Jesus. And so let's have grace for people where they're at. Not everybody's strong in their faith yet, but you might be here even for such a time as this to share and open the door for like that conversation. So I just am thinking about that too. Let's look for that. Let's look for those God encounter moments and divine appointments.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, remember, everything is supernaturally natural and naturally supernatural, right? There's no distinction. But this is a business, right? I mean, we're at a business event and we don't allow people in based on faith or not. So,
Right.
um, That's a great point. And I love what you said, Angela, about you're going to get what you look for and you're going to get what you expect. So take some time to journal, write down questions for people, and then write down what you want. Like after convention, what do you want to have gained? What do you want to have accomplished? And it should be things like connections, community, content, inspiration, because truly you're going to get what you look for and what you expect. So, friends, raise your expectation, be the leader, be the initiator, look for people to give to. Don't always be looking for someone to give to you. You be that person, and let's just have the best time ever together.
Yes, I'm so excited. One more thought. What you focus on expands. So
That's
let's focus
right.
all that God has for us and all the opportunities, even in the car rides there, to
Oh,
learn
yeah.
and go deeper. Okay.
That's right. All right, friends. We'll see you Wednesday or Thursday or Friday. Can't wait.
Bye.
Bye. I don't know how to stop recording on my phone. Okay, hold on. Oh.